much so. So this is out of position, sorry. In position, our strategy with ace 10, we had ace of clubs, 10 of spades, is to raise. And this happened in a coaching session, and the player needed clarification, and I sent him this video. You can see that ace 10 is strategy wise is a raise, pure raise almost. However, if you look at its EV between checking or betting, it's not that different. Raising or so out of position bet 17, raising we check raise. It's good when you have a top pair with like the best kicker. You can raise for both protection and value, right? You're getting value because, again, not to overcomplicate, what is the value bet or value raise? A bet basically that's going to win more than 50% times you bet it. So simple, man. Poker is so simple. So how is an exploitative poker player going to increase his EV in this spot when he cannot ever be gangster enough to be doing this, raising with 8-3 suited? And there's a very fine reason for doing that. It kind of blocks the 10 high flush with the 8 combo, like 7-8, a lot of stuff like that. With the 3, it kind of blocks out to ace suited ace x, and wheel draws. So that's good. So you can see the shittier combos have more of a chance to increase their EV by betting. A good hand simply can't. Look, in a pot of 75, yes, we haven't made our decision yet. We're winning more than the pot in terms of EV, because this is also looking at the long run. And also 1060, 2 pair is supposed to win this much. So if we somehow don't win this much with this combo, we're going to like kind of rue. But that doesn't mean our strategy changes. And look at these combos starting to like just pull really bad at EV. So we raised, okay, blah blah blah, out of position, called, and then it's back to us, and you can see our combo again raises, and again it's such a tremendously powerful combo with an ace of clubs that. But keep your eyes on 8-3 suited. It still wants to bet. And it's not only the suited version. Look at, because if that was the case, look at what do you call it? Queen 4 offsuit. It possibly cannot have a flush draw, right? Almost all of it is betting, right? And its strategy is similar to ace 10, whose strategy is similar to king 10, and all their strategies are similar to queen jack. Queen 10, though, you cannot consider it as like that good of a hand, because it's not, you're not gonna get value going 3 streets with it. However, queen 2 suited is awesome, because part of it is probably just just a pair plus, well, then if you can't have the flush draw, right? So it's just then the king comes in, and look at what happens to our strategy. It gets checked in position. Now suddenly, this is why in position is so powerful. It's not because you have the most information. It's never because you are the last one to act. It's never these are all like qualities of being in position. They're not what is the mathematical solution, like showing your work, where you can say that, oh, position actually helps. Here suddenly our hand becomes somewhat of a bluff catcher. Not a bluff catcher, but kind of like we can see showdown just by checking. Out of position, when he checks, is not 100% sure that whatever price he's setting, checking is like betting 0, that he's gonna get the same price to actually see the showdown. Look at Same thing with queen 4 offsuit. We're still betting mostly all in. Obviously, two pair being, 9-8 suited. It's not just, it cannot just be the flush combos, because it's it's quite a lot of their combos are doing that. Again, if you look at queen 4, it's the flush combo, sure, but you can see there's 22% bets with queen 4 of diamonds, 23 with spades, 25 with hearts, because it did have the backdoor hearts, right? Why? Because it blocks the top end of the wheel draw, which will be a lot of suited aces. What else does it do? On king 10 with a queen, you block the combos. You blocked the combos for something like, jack 9 or a jack x, for example. So you can, so since this card is not going to win much on showdown, same thing with 8-3, although that's just seems to be just like a product of, again, 8-4, for example, is a bigger bet. More combos are betting with the 8-4, because it can again do the same thing. With the 8, it blocks some of the top end 10 high straights, it blocks some of the low straights. That's how EV is increased, is taking a shit combo and raising in position. But being in position, you want to actually see, you don't want to bet a hand that probably will have a lot of EV. Yeah, it's got like 209 in a pot of 314. Why would you want to reopen the action, get 2 bet, and get fucked? Because then you have to like kind of, now you're bluff catching. Whereas 8-4, 8-3, you can see queen 4, for example, has 7.25 chips in a pot of 314. We're always going to lose with it, given how the action was. Also, remember, passive pots, don't do this bluffing, because it's not going to work as often, because pot's going to be lower. It's better off multi-way sometimes if it was always completely check. But when the pot is like out of position, bets, calls a raise, turn is a check, then in position bets, and he's called. Then the river is the king, he checks. So this is somewhat of a board that had a lot of action, and it's not a passive board, so the stakes are high. You're putting the guy to the sword with jamming all in for basically his tournament life too. So you can see, you can take a shit combo and turn your EV, which right now is pretty solid. No, it's not that solid, but it's like, actually the equity will be, actually we're probably going to be behind in equity. So 174, and we can actually just raise, oh sorry, hold up. And you can see that like showdown hands start checking, and here, look at the EV difference now between checking and betting. 51, that's more than the starting pot. 58, 2.4, it's significant, when the rest of the numbers were like something like 0.00 something. 10-6 ain't gonna make that much difference, because it's already a good hand. Doesn't matter if our strategy is to bet with it or jam or just check back. The thing is, it's still 2 pairs. It's not like it also unblocks flush, which will be played like with it as a check, should be played as a check. You can see sets though. The EV of betting is more, because why would you want to check back a set? Right? Especially since the flush bricked. So you can see that you can take a hand with like 7.5 or whatever, and you can just increase its EV, even 8-3, And look, it's doing it with all 4 combos. Look at here. Look. This little line, jam. This little line, jam. This is just a flush. This little line you can't see is a jam. All of them are jamming because again, blocks top end of the straight, blocks the bottom end of the straight. Not many king X are floating. So yes, EV, max EV is found out through Nash equilibrium. And people do not are finding out a GTO framework, right? So you do not want to turn hands that are not good, not like the nuts, as in position into bluffs. Which brings me to this hand, and I don't know if I'll have the time to talk about all of the hands. Yeah, let's just talk about this. Well, maybe this one. Yeah, and this one is important. Sure. Not this. I don't know what happened here. Maybe this. We'll be quick. This one. Not this one. This one. I don't know what the fuck happened here. And here. Okay, what happened here? Okay, 14 big blinds, 22 big blinds. Okay, that's, I don't know why this spot is actually. He won. Cool. How do you win? Oh, straight. Okay, king 7. What happened? What the fuck? Okay, oh, they don't have much chips, right? Hey, binked it. Okay, what happened in the 7th hand? Oh. Open. Good call. Call twice. Okay. Checks. Bets. Call on ace 5 6. Just because of the, I mean, pot odds, this is just like quantitative poker, right? And get overcalled, sure. We could raise too, but it's like we've got like really powerful hand. And this guy just bombs it. And here, I have to evaluate, do I have not 33%? It was a multi-way pot, right? So here I need to call it 50% of my range. Does this hand qualify as that? If he doesn't have an ace here, surely does. So it's about like kind of like evaluating your hand. You can always look at it, and the more you do it, the more better you're gonna get with whether or not this is a call. I'm not sure. I'll run this spot maybe. It's hard to run though. It's 3. It was started with 3, right? And then the ace comes in, just makes it less likely for him to have one. Also makes it, because he would have also done something on the with coordinated sort of board like 6-5. He would have done something, and he bets one big line. Now, can you fold here? I wouldn't fold with king high. I would have a hard time folding king high with so much on in the pot, and some hands I might. No, I don't think there's any hand that I would just jam with, but it's simple call. Jesus, man. Like, playing GTO is just like optimal ranges is going to be so beneficial, because exploitative poker assumes way too much. So what if people are not acting rationally? That doesn't mean you also start acting irrationally. And that's like a thing taken from what do you call it? What's their name? Economists who talk about people who are in the hundreds who are not taking things irrationally, who have a lot more variables. And we don't even use game theory has being used since Cortez's time. Stalin used it. If any troop wants to run back, shoot him. There's this thought experiment with the commander thinking to himself, if we are supposed to win this battle, why should I risk my life? Because some casualties will be there, and if we're going to lose anyways, we might lose. But so he retreats, he himself goes back, then one soldier thinks the same way, then the other. What happens? The other opponent thinks, oh, they're all weak, let's attack them. So they lose anyways. Secondly, Cortez burning his ships. Um, by the way, the Dark Knight has a lot of game theoretic situations that Joker pulls off. If Cortez to deny his troops from, you know, jumping back on board the ship, actually burned them all, and their opponent thought that, oh my God, there's this leader who thinks he's so confident in winning, so far from home that he just burned his like way back home. So you can see it's actually a game of information. In a poker table, you're not going to be up against hundreds of people trying to find the Nash equilibrium. And in any case, the approximate Nash equilibrium that was made in 1974 or solved in 1974 is more used. Forget about John von Neumann, it's been around for a while. Okay, 8-4 deuce, multi-way, I just stab because got the 7. We've got 7 jack also. We've got some backdoors. We want one of these guys to fold. Like sandwich is fine. Then this is pretty decent card, although it's hard to bluff on these boards. We did pick up a gutty, so I continue. I bet pot. This is somewhat exploitative. I mean, these guys will only be calling with the nuts, but that's what I want, right? I want them to fold. Okay, we'll just go over this. Okay, wait, what happened? That's 4 to call. Get there. Man. I don't know about the turn lead. Like with the cards that we block, the queen is not really helping us. So a lot of like ace queen, like queen jack is blocked, queen king is blocked, queen 10 is blocked. Fuck man, we block everything. But he is from early position, right? So he had 2 pair. Okay, cool. Oh, this hand was just kind of like interesting because I think it's closer than most people think. Okay, we defend early in the game, we check, he bets. You have to raise, guys. You have to raise. You know, I remember Ben CB saying, oh, on the ace king board, what are you gonna represent? Well, depends on the stack size. Depends on, you know, there's antes, yeah, there's antes, but it's early in the game. Depends on a bunch of things, man. Like sizing of the villain. You can raise, you know. Yes, you will never be able to clear your MDF, which we're gonna get to. Okay, when he raises, don't go smashing all in. What is he gonna call with? Basically, you're gonna make him call with just the nuts, like, or he's gonna have a hard time calling with any bluff. So just call. So what if you unblock the flush and the flush might come in? 7 comes in, you check. He bets pot again. Why would you jam? He's just, you know, giving you the chips. Okay, this is a pretty nasty card, to be honest. And I check because he could have queen jack. We completely unblock. It would be a hand that he opens. He slams it in. I think this is just because of the fact that we've got so much chips in. Maybe it's a different line. I don't know. What the fuck bluff was that? So if you look at like button versus, okay, we'll do this in part 2 where we'll look at button versus cutoffs and see how position really affects mathematically from this concept of being able to basically with your entire range do whatever you want, price people at whatever price you want. You're able to leverage it in terms of increasing or decreasing your EV. Here's one example. Never ever bust. Okay, he's under the gun versus a small blind range that just cold called him. He bets pretty big, so I still min raise. This is somewhat exploitative. So exploitative means like you sometimes, mostly will just be like, we wouldn't even be like doing anything with a bluff here, but here I'm on purpose making the raise size small. He calls to 10. Like what the fuck does he beat? So it looks like, I could be on a draw. The hearts didn't come in, so I jam. I don't know if it's the right, because he's supposed to call with like a pretty tight range. He was under the gun though. That's what my thinking was. So it's more like logic. Never do this. Never bust your stack on that board. This is what like getting there used to do on like Super Tuesdays, versus like out of position. So we're gonna keep these hands. I know what they are. Again, just like kind of just call it down. Don't go all in. I don't know what happened here. Oh yeah, I remember. This was I already went over this hand. Another one was button versus cutoff, but that's in a whole aggregation report. So it'll actually be very clear. It'll clear up a lot of situations where you do bluff, where you will see what the power of position is, because it'll literally raise the minimal defense frequency. And just to end it off, for people who don't know what an MDF is, it is, say someone bet into you and you fold it every time. Well, they were gonna start bluffing versus you a lot, right? They're incentivized to bluff. So you need to have a some everyone actually has, like, just from like regret minimization, people change. And in fact, game theory, poker is very easy to drive towards a game theoretic part of the game tree, because the options are constrained. This is why at short stacks, it doesn't matter whether you're exploitative player or a GTO player. It's again the problem with the English language, or any language, being a little bit more, not concise in its context. That you can say, yeah, GTO or exploitative, but what you really mean is like, you just play the deck. Okay, people say balance for balance sake. Well, what about imbalance for imbalance sake? When we've seen that like EV is dependent on the quality of the card you hold. Also, you don't just go bluffing with the entire deck. It has to be somewhat logical. So it's more logic, less so to do with GTO or exploitation. Then you go back to the lab, look at why you did something, what could have been done, what is in the opponent's range. And when someone say, oh, people can have any range, well, then they're going to have lower EV over the long run. Stronger range versus a weaker range, stronger range is going to win over the long run, no matter what, if you just go all in. But remember, everyone's a good player when all 5 cards are to come, and you've already put all your money in. Big up B Fizz 11 for saying that. There is always the best hand that you should be folding, or that you could fold, or you have to fold. Again, big up B Fizz 11 for that. And so we'll go over position more, because I just don't have the time now. This video is getting longer. And just clarify like exactly what this means, because you'll get from coaches a position information. You have this and that. No, you have something mathematically in your advantage. That's never talked about, because people leave it at that. And people have been asking questions regarding position. They've been giving me the same answer. It helps you, it's recursive. Like it helps you because you're in position. You can leverage the fact they're in position because you are in position. It's kind of like no answer. It's just yeah, peace.